What is going on, everybody? Today we're continuing the Warp Spider Prime. The plan is to shift focus back onto the Prime herself. But first I want to touch up a little bit of these yellow spots on the lightning arcs of the cabbage, the warp cabbage as it were. And just spruce it up a bit, maybe add a wash to these gold elements. And then after those are all in place, I'll jump over to the Phoenix Lord. Very nice, super cosmic space magnet. Let us begin indeed. What are you up to, Space Magnet? What do you have on your hobby desk? Tramari, where are you? I'll tell you. You've stumbled into the Cool Guy Club. Welcome. Let's try sprucing up the intensity of these corners, these junction points of the lightning beams here. I'm thinking those should probably be the brightest spots. Because that's where the energy resides, right? Shit, almost ruined my work. Oh, you just sold your Necrons, Space Magnet. Oh. Selling models to get new ones? And painting them before buying new models. That is a behavior we should all strive for. Painting your models before buying new ones. Good God, I just realized how terrible my white dropper bottle is. Look at this. Disastrous. Can you just imagine if I didn't have a painting handle and I was just holding the model? I'd be pissed. That's how you fund your hobby. Hobby and army, play some games, and when you get bored, essentially, make your money back by selling and starting over. Well, that's certainly a way to do it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Enjoying the journey, as it were. I imagine there'll be quite the range of feelings around Imperial agents, right? Just depending how people's, I guess, biases fall. I suppose that'll be how it works. I mean, if I just imagine that I build a Death Watch army under the premise that they were special, and then all of a sudden I'm told just play them as normal Space Marines, I'd feel pretty miffed. That's my understanding with how this codex is positioned. I don't have the full details on how the functionality works, Space Magnet. Though I do believe there are content creators who have like early access for these books before they have become available to the public, or the embargoes have gone up and they're speaking to perhaps leaks or other announcements in the capacities that they're able to. But my understanding is that Imperial agents will include the Inquisition units and Assassin units and kind of allow them to play as a unified army. And there are very few select Death Watch units and Grey Knights units that are part of that selection. Honestly, I need to wait till like a full review comes out and watch someone cover it. I don't know for certain if the Grey Knights are. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what capacity the Grey Knights and Death Watch are being kind of restricted to because of this. Or is this just another way to use those models? And if that's the case, then it's a moot point. Like, it's just a net win. Right now you can play a more thematic, in my opinion, Inquisition-based force in a match play kind of setting. Which is probably how the Inquisition should be handled in a match play point of view, right? Like, I don't think Soup should be in match play at all, personally. It does seem that Imperial Soup is more alive, though, to answer your question. It seems you're able to soup more, which is something I've never... Well, if you're familiar with my older videos, yeah, I was never really into the soup standards of 8th. Thought it was kind of cringe. I wonder how much I can dilute this yellow, Flash Gets Yellow and Toxic Mist mix to just increase the brightness and add a little bit of warmth towards the edges of our Warp Blast. I think a bit of variance towards the edges will help the effect. Hopefully they keep some of the things that make Granite a popular army. Yeah, it's, I don't know. There's still too much I'm not in the loop of to really weigh in on if it's a feel good or a feel bad. Like, if the Grey Knight and Death Watch players aren't really losing anything, and this just allows those models to be used in a new way, I think it's just everybody wins. Well, aside from the consequence of soup, right? And any potential additional abuse that this publication brings. They could redesign the baby carrier, though. Yeah, they could, but you know, it's much easier to just release a character sculpt and sell it alongside a publication. The hex rate is really stark around some of these veins. I wonder if I can blend it out a little bit. No, that's not going to work. Hey Francois, just saw your message. Yeah, I much, and I said this during that stream, and all good that you had company show up. I said it during the stream. I think it looks much better for it, and I gave you some praise. I said Francois knows what's up. Something along those lines. I think it looks less cabbage-like, much more dynamic, and it's better for it, ultimately. Oh, right, at the very end of the stream, I might have said something like I want to sleep on it and take a look, but I wasn't exactly doubtful. I just think to really evaluate whether or not it's like how much more work, so to speak, will go into making the blends read to a level I think is satisfactory. I was more speaking to the finer, I guess, implementation of the blends, but as a method to add variance and increase visual interest, I think your suggestion was a great one. Okay, so I think with a little bit of variance added here to the yellow areas, I think I'll switch gears to the Phoenix Lord herself. And you know what, from this point on in this project, I'll probably be just jumping back and forth between these two for I don't know, for a while, for the rest of the workflow, honestly. Just as things feel I should jump back to the other side and reevaluate how they look together. And hopefully I'm not wrong about when I decide to attach her to the base and then continue working on the model. Because it would suck to have to work on our warp effect once she's attached. I did do a little dry fit before I started the base just to see how she was looking relative to the model, and I noticed that her calf or her leg here sits fairly deep inside of the warp blast, comes up to about the widest point in her calf. So I think this area needs to be really overblown by the Hexwraith color. Or a Toxic Mist and then Hexwraith. We'll just have to do a bit of guesswork and see how she looks. A game where you worship cabbage, eh? Yeah, I know of RuneScape. I've seen a little bit of gameplay, but I've never gotten into it. Do I have my gloss varnish up here? It appears I do not. I'm just desperately searching, despite that. Okay. I'm gonna get the mix or blend. I'm gonna get the array of colors I used for the Warp Spider armor, which I think was Evil Sunz Scarlet and maybe Pure Red. Probably Evil Sunz Scarlet and over Corn Red. Here's the test model I did initially, which looks like Evil Sunz Scarlet. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree with Francois on the Deathwatch issue. If you can't play the index detachment of, what was it called, Black Spear or Black Vigil Task Force or something? If you can't play that anymore, and now the only way to play Deathwatch, in air quotes, is to play normal Space Marines and ally in, like 5 or whatever, 3 Deathwatch units, that's big sad. I think that feels bad. I think if I was a Deathwatch guy and I lovingly converted a Deathwatch army, I'd be like, oh, cool. Thanks. I feel like my hobby efforts have been shat upon. But I'm not sure if that's the case, and maybe you guys in chat can kind of clarify for me. Is that the new paradigm Deathwatch falls under, or is this Inquisition, this Agents of the Inquisition book just another way to play with those models? You have about 5k in Deathwatch? Yep, I can... Yeah, that feels bad. Definitely feels bad if it's the way we understand it to be. I mean, when I read the Warhammer Community post today, it certainly implied that my understanding was correct. I'm wondering if I should just add some Hexwraith and then see how the armor color is looking. Maybe start blending our colors with Hexwraith and Toxic Mist going forward. Hey, do you guys have any suggestions for the blade colors? I want to have a color that kind of pops, draws attention to these unique weapons of the Phoenix Lord, right? Initially, I was thinking of just, you know, that armor, that bright red armor color fading to a black, kind of like a poisonous spider kind of vibe, but I think fading to black just doesn't add that pop, right? So I'm open to suggestions. Ceramic white blades. Okay, you know what? That's that would certainly pop. Yep. That could look very cool. Might have to dabble with a bit of that. And I like that it doesn't add another color to the composition. Okay, actually, almost wish I had a bigger brush up here. Just make Deathwatch a sub-faction. Oh, you mean like Black Templars, Dark Angels? Maybe. Maybe. It's a weird one. Usually Legends purges seem to always correlate with models that are no longer in production. But in the Deathwatch case, it's just the Space Marine range with upgrade bits, right? So what's the justification for this? Is Deathwatch too complicated for matched play, and this is a matched play casualty? Somehow I doubt that's justifiably, like, valid. Okay, and then we're gonna basically just overblow all this stuff with Hexwraith. Let's do it. Let's see. Let's see how we look. Of course we'll have to clean some of this up, blend it back to a tasteful degree. It's probably going to pool in some areas. Well, it's certainly more green. I can recess shade the ceramic white blades with a color and then do your green OSL reflections and still look like a white sharp blade. Pretty easy in your opinion. I'll give it a whirl. Not something I've done before, but hey, best to be brave and experiment, right? I find that attitude usually, well, you know, like you're prone to having some hobby casualties with your projects, of course, but being brave and trying stuff you haven't done before often is very satisfying when it pays off. That was the case with many of my Tyranid conversions. Warp spiders are friggin' cool. They are very cool. So are spectrals, not spectral spinners, shadow specters. I like shadow specters as well. They just don't have any. Their models are just a bit aged at the moment, I think. I do have to spruce up my shadow specters. They're a little, well, they're certainly tabletop, but they're a little undercooked, if you know what I mean. Okay, gotta let this Hexwraith dry a little bit, I think, and then we'll... I don't know. I think it's looking pretty cool already. Yeah, this blade is gonna be mostly white, or mostly toxic mist, because it actually mounts into the base. It mounts into this notch here, so it's fairly like it's in contact with the warp blast. So I imagine it's gonna be fairly bright, fairly washed out. Well, I think the red and green kind of wash is working in a way for an OSL kind of effect. Something I do want to add here to these tubes. I just want to have the back end be darker than the front end. Because on the other models in this gal's unit, these, I don't know what to call them. I'm just painting them like glowing green energy tubes. But they're evenly distributed, and I like the idea that because her warp blast is still visible, the tubes aren't fully colored in. Like most of the energy is still being reabsorbed. And I think when she's, you know, painted up beside the unit, I think that'll come across. Okay, we're gonna need some more toxic mist. You think it'll add more dimension to the model than darker colored blades, Francois? Yeah, I agree. That makes sense to me. You would just do the OSL as an edge highlight on the blades. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. What's the worst case scenario? I don't do a good job, or I don't like the result it yields, and then I just do something else, right? How's it going, Julian Calero? For me, I'm mixed, favoring on happy with the Imperial Agents Codex if Deathwatch doesn't get a new codex. Yeah, I have mixed feelings on it, certainly. I never shared any, I mean, I shared some of my house rule ideas recently on the channel, but I had something in mind for an Arms of the Inquisition style rule set, right? That would allow all the weird Imperial facets to be consolidated in this way. So I do like what GW's showing here, because that is more in line with, well, my preference, but at what cost, right? I don't know. I don't fully know if the Death Watch are being axed in a sense. Crap. I'm backwards with these blends. God damn. How embarrassing. Yeah, it should be brighter towards the back, because that's where the energy's coming in, right? Jeez. Jeez. Okay. How awkward. Well, now you guys know. Look. No journeys without peril, right? At least I caught it now. Yep, that's true. That is something to feel good about. Better than... better than, like, realizing your terrible mistake while you're taking photos of your model. That is... that is truly the worst. And it is something I've had the displeasure of feeling more than once. You take a photo and you're like, wait, hold on. Someday you may forgive me, Space Magnet. Well, I'll try my best to earn back your favor. Let's get the Hex Wraith back out. Try and darken the forward edges of these, I don't know what to call them, energy bands. I think a bit of overspill is actually going to be okay here. I shouldn't I shouldn't have so much trepidation. And then I'll do another layer after that dries. Just read your comment, Space Magnet. Yeah, that's a feeling I empathize with. The feeling of the model's changing when you're taking photos. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Welcome, Alfarius. Better late than never. Good to have you on stream. Don't feel bad, alright? All is forgiven. And you have Deathwatch and Grey Knights, Alfarius. Right, right. So there's quite a bit of a fall off with this Inquisitorial Agents mix up for you. Yeah, Julian has a an opinion there. I agree with the company heroes. I presume it's a disappointing variant of the command squad. Not being able to attach an apothecary to it is certainly salts the wound relative to the old command squad as well. But then again, I feel like the whole command squad or the whole company heroes, like their vision for these command squads, and by they I mean like GW, the rules writers, they want these command squads to be like a -1 to wound support piece with additional like individual models that carry with it specific abilities, right? Like with the champion gets to still be a champion, and the banner still does the banner thing while while they're in the unit, right? But I'm of the, I don't know, you tell me what you guys think, but I'm of the opinion like a command squad, a chapter master and a command squad should be such a like a big fucking deal. You know what I'm saying? Like holy shit. A chapter master or a captain with a command squad is taking to the field. I kind of imagine that should be comparable, or whatever the word is, comparable to, honestly, like not a Primarch in, well, to a Primarch in terms of utility, but not in fighting power, obviously. Right? Like I would love if a command squad could allow the captain's stratagem ability. Not rites of battle. Yeah, rites of battle. If the rites of battle ability could be used on nearby units or units within 12 inches, I think that would be much more like a game changer until, and kind of better reflect the authority and majesty that comes with a command squad taking to the battlefield. Like it should be a big deal, man. Same with the Farseer and the Warlock Conclave. It shouldn't just be like, oh, now the Farseer has, if you have precision, is -1 to wound against the Farseer. It's like, ah, it's so boring to me. I'm just catching up on chat now. Command Squad should at minimum be able to take any war gear. Yep, I agree. It's like a chosen, Chaos chosen situation there. You can only use what comes in the kit because of, I don't know, third-party bit sellers. And I suppose it does make the datasheets easier to manage. And in that regard, that design choice begins to be framed as one for a competitive tournament game system management, rather than a narrative, just do whatever you want based on what would be feasible in world type of design choice. I prefer the latter, but that's probably no surprise. You'd love to have the Seer Council and Dawn of War to have that vibe on the tabletop. Oh, tell me more, Space Magnet. Tell me more. What was their vibe? And as a Blood Angel fan, the Sanguinary Guard is a disappointment as well. But that's where the Vanguard vets come in with the Sanguinary Priest, with the jump pack Captain. Yeah, I think as a Blood Angels fan, you wouldn't want your Vanguard veterans to be preferable. Or I guess more... You wouldn't want them to have more majesty than the Sanguinary Guard, obviously. Yeah, Sanguinary Guard rolling with Dante should also be like, yo, big fucking deal, okay? This is serious. This is like, this is final boss levels of intensity. Okay. I see what you're laying out there, Space Magnet, and I wholly agree. That would be much more preferable. That sounds way more interesting. You want those combination units to add interest to the tabletop, not just stat stack. Like stat stacking is the most boring part of the game, in my opinion. What's up, Kendall Dorman? Thanks for tuning in. Pretty new to 40k on the tabletop. I want to field an Inquisition army, so this is pretty cool for me. Oh, that is very cool. Yeah, I think it's nice to have rules that, there's many facets to this issue, or to this announcement, this mix-up. And having some structure to field an Inquisitional force is preferred. Because without it just, like, if you want to play with your Inquisitor, you just end up having a... I don't know. Without seeing the full details of the structure being provided, I can't really say for certain, but I think this is better than just, oh, what army is strong right now? Let me add an Inquisitor and play my Inquisition force, right? Which I hate. Like Space Wolves, the Space Wolves with Allied Inquisitor, I can't roll my eyeballs any harder, you know? Oh yes, of course the Space Wolves would work well with the Inquisition. It's thematic, okay? It's my lore, don't judge me, please. Oh, Jesus. Almost rocked up my shit. The edition where everyone was briefly into Iron Hands lore. Yup. Ugh, the cringe. I can't, yeah, I can't get into the competitive tournament scene for those kinds of reasons. So every army starts looking the same. I would love a competitive tournament environment, like where you could really shine the different factions and sub-factions a bit more effectively. But the rules never seem to be at a level to facilitate that. Alright, so these are the gray panels. Maybe I'll mix some Toxic Mist with gray and see how she looks. Hammerfall Bunker? Yeah, Hammerfall Bunkers are very cool. Love the idea. It's too bad fortifications don't work better. Or it's too bad they aren't better integrated, I should say. That is something I like about Age of Sigmar. But, you know, I'm kind of like an outsider looking in to the game system, really, so can't speak with total confidence, but it seems to be that fortifications, or whatever they call it in their system, are better integrated. That's very cool. Like, I was perusing some of the free indexes, and, you know, like Sylvaneth warp around with their wildwood trees. It's kinda cool. I can't lie. Maybe warp isn't the right word. They enter and exit the battlefield through forests. Maybe that's more accurate. Where's the Incubi Darkness? Incubi Darkness is going to go on this panel here, and that one's going to be fairly washed out. Fairly washed out with the OSL. Though it's not pure Incubi Darkness, I want to mix in some of this turquoise because I'm thinking it's going to be quite embrightened. That's a word. Because of the OSL effect. So I add a bit of Toxic Mist and Hexwraith. Just catching up on the comments. Yeah, Francois, there might be a bit of that as to the reason why terrain rules are what they are. Burned by the sun. Oh, you're burned by the sun, Tramari. Like a Necron before the transference. I think the color here is working. I think she's working. Let's see if I can enhance the ridge here. Now we can use this color on this side as well. You taste burning. That's not a good sign, Shamari. Certainly not. Alright, so I need to apply some color to the underneath of this shoulder pad. But I'm thinking a dark neutral color would be preferred. Maybe Incubi Darkness and black. I think it's working. I think this OSL effect is... I think it's reading well. Figured I can use that shoulder pad color on the hair as well. Well, not... I don't know. I assume it's a plume, not so much the Phoenix Lord's hair. Quite an odd choice of helmet to have your hair fly out the back. Can you have a void sealed helmet that allows for that? I doubt it. Let's get some more of this toxic mist and try and sell the brighter areas of this hair. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of work to do that. did this happen? I wasn't even painting with gold. It's one of life's great mysteries. Alright, so I'm building an off-white color. Start. I want to actually add a bit of glazing medium as well to thin down the paint. So I want to start whitening these blades. Not sure if the whole blade should be white or just where those faceted areas end. Might end up looking like Wolverine though. This side would probably... Well, you know what, let's try something out here. Well, chat's getting into it, eh? Oh, you know what? I I don't want to get in the way of that. It's from what I understand, chat activity is good regardless. It's part of the engagement metrics. So chat about what you guys want to chat about. So I'll just sit here and munch on some popcorn while I watch this go down. It's too bad I don't have a switchboard of reaction GIFs. I think these blends were looking pretty good, and then I bungled it up. I'm just catching up on your chat. Altharius, I see your tag here. You gotta read some of this stuff. We almost had to deal with Primarch fanfiction. Oh, Primarch fanfiction. It's a slippery slope indeed. Can't we all just get along in hobby in spite of our differences? Is that something that is possible? I don't have a moderator. One of my buddies is. He's probably not on stream. Uh, Francois, come on, Francois, be a good guy, okay? You give good hobby tips. I don't want to have you kicked. Come on. As long as everyone's respectable, we can discuss issues amicably. There's a similar thing in my Discord that occurred during the whole Femstodes discussion, and I basically told them the same thing, right? As long as people are being amicable, I would hope. Amicable and respectful to each other. How's it going, Link Dancer? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Let's see if we can brighten these blades a little bit. Inquisition thematic list soon, Kendall. That's an excellent question. I suppose it would be an opportune time to do so. But without having access to the rules, there's going to be a time delay, unfortunately. Unless some leaks arise that are sent my way, I can't do anything timely, unfortunately. Did the whole female custodians thing change anything? Not really. I'm actually kind of curious to see what GW does. Because they didn't respond at all. There's vocal outlash or discussion in the community, and they've been pretty tight-lipped on it. I'm kind of intrigued, honestly. I saw your message, Alfarius. I'm just too focused right now. After all of looking, I finally found a bright enough green to make neon striking scorpions. Wow. What green would that be? Citadel? Or is it a superior... sorry, a superior brand? Like Green Stuff World or maybe AK? Looking interesting, I think. I can't, sorry, I can't help but like laugh and abuse, but it's kind of surreal that this conversation is taking place in my stream. It's kind of funny to me. DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's a kind of protocol used by a lot of companies to meet quotas for hiring people of different ethnicities or genders, that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's a good definition or not, but that's kind of the gist of it. That's my understanding, anyways. I think I need to punch up the brightness on this energy swirl. Question for Francois. Do you think the energy swirl should have yellow pop accents as well, here and there? I ask because I feel like you're pretty bang on the money with regards to the cabbage. Alfarius, I see your response. You mixed Tesseract green with some other light green paint you found somewhere in your drawer. That's very funny to me. Excellent response. 10 out of 10. Okay. chat's kind of quicker today. It's a bit more active than usual. A little difficult to keep up. Oh, the poll is 67%. People are down with the consolidation of the Inquisition. Interesting. I wonder if that'll change as we learn more. Let's see here. You feel like an 8-year-old watching adults argue at Thanksgiving. Perfect analogy. Perfect. I think one everyone can understand. I mean, for what it's worth, I don't know how much of the rule simplification is due to a gender inclusivity push as it is just for rules upkeep for competitive play, if you know what I mean. I think that's probably where the incentive is. At least, it's like a gut check, I'll be honest. But I can't help but feel that's probably more of a contributor. Since 8th edition, so like in 8th edition, GW didn't have a competitive play format really. They were using the ITC's format, hold one, hold more, or whatever it was back then. It was much more simple. And in 9th edition, I think they just rolled that in because that's what the competitive scene was using. And I think that shift marks a kind of pivot in their sensibilities for game management. I think they want to cater to a competitive system that's easy to upkeep on their part. I think that's part of the reason why War Gear doesn't cost anything. It's just easier this way. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Does it make sense? You feeling what I'm laying down here? Alfarius is saying, I love that rules are far simpler than they were before. It makes it more digestible. But they have simplified some areas a bit too much. Yeah, I think... Well, I don't think that's anything people would disagree with. Seems like a fairly agreeable take. Yeah, like, look, in game systems, generally simpler is better, but obviously, like anything, like, only to a point. Yep. Yep, Alfarius. I think those are the narrative kind of simplifications that are, well, the exclusion of which is hurting the thematic or narrative players, such as myself. Like being unable to feel the chapter master unless I count my guy as Calgar, it doesn't feel great. Really, the game should have, it should be designed on two levels of play: thematic or narrative play and tournament play. And I think tournament play should exist on top of the narrative play, and it would just exclude certain things. You don't want to have every chapter have a chapter master in tournament play? Fine, right? You remove that. I understand what you're laying out, Francois. I just don't think that's the best method of persuasion. happens to this ponytail if I glaze a bit more of this Hex Wraith over those brightened areas? What happens? Oh, I think it looks better. That's what happens. Pretty cool. I think it's working. What is up with this? This is a... oh my god, I think it's a mold line. Fuck me. I can't believe I've done this. Oh my god. Or maybe it's just paint that was applied too thick and dried up. Either way, I'll have to take a knife to it, which sucks. Certainly sucks. Look, this is how we get the best result, right? Just gotta do it. Of course, correct the errors as they come. Got some metallic paint on my palette here. Is it alive? Oh, it is. It lives. It is very diluted, though. No, the coverage is alright. Maybe I spoke too soon. I think that'll look better in metallic. That's going to require a bit of cleanup, though. Oh yeah, and we can apply some here as well. Well, guys, I was planning to wrap this up around 9:30 or so, so just a little heads up. I'll probably wrap up hobbing in about 10 minutes or so. I have prior engagements set in place, so unfortunately gotta wrap it up. Though I am discouraged to do so by seeing the activity in chat, which is a nice regardless of the topic. I do like seeing more activity in chat. That does feel like I'm just not streaming to nobody. I think we made some good progress on this gal today, though. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. What am I gonna run the Warp Spider Phoenix Lord as, Alfarius? Well, I'm gonna run it as a Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord. Surprise, surprise. I'll probably... I have a fun house rule I've kind of cobbled together for such a unit. I think it's positioned tastefully, and I'll probably debut it in a thematic battle report, if I'm being honest, right? Something framed as like, look, this is like a narrative thing for fun. This is what it is. This is how she works. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, outside of that, I probably wouldn't run it on the table at all. Most people would probably just scoff, I guess, at custom units, right? So best not to. It's just a hobby piece beyond that kind of a narrative scenario. But, oh man, I just love the sculpt so much. So dynamic. I see your message there, Francois, and look, I appreciate you guys chatting away. These are, you know, everyone's positions are worth hearing out and understanding. As long as the discourse is not rude. As long as it's respectful, I think that's the key. I think I'll put a bit of incubi under here. That's probably the color you want. That way there's something... like, that kind of frames the red armor a little bit. A cool background. You're trying to get Vulcan Histan for a list of a tournament. Oh no, I saw, it's my dyslexia. Well, I don't have dyslexia, but I saw Birdie and I read Tourney. Vulcanistan is a model that needs an update. You think I'm psychic because it actually was for a tournament, eh? You know what, I probably just associated it was for a tournament because of that Paladins list you wanted to do for your Grey Knights. Probably just a bit of association. I am not a psychic, sadly. Well, if I was, I would have the best Warhammer YouTube channel. I wouldn't even need to wait for leaks. I would just reveal all. I'd just spoil everything GW has planned. Such an abuse of power. It's like, how does he know? How does he criticize the mechanics before they're published? We've already printed them. We can't redact it. Alright, basically out of time, but I want to apply a layer of Hexrate before I wrap it up. I think that's what does the trick, right? That's what sells the effect. Okay, how's she looking? Pretty good, I'd say. Definitely better. Unfortunately, I took the before and after picture from this point of view, so and all the effect is on the back side, so you don't get to see any of it, which sucks. Oh well. I think she's looking pretty good. Anyways, guys. Thanks for joining me for another Hobby Hang stream. To everyone who made it to the end, good hobby hustle. And I appreciate the hobby camaraderie as always. But with that, I'm going to wrap this stream up. I'll catch you guys in the next one.